What up, y'all? Welcome back, players, traders, haters, right? Everybody, retail investors. I just want to welcome you to the channel. And it's your boy D, right? And this is D's Daily DD. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, right? So don't take it as that. All right, guys. So I want to get into the video today, and I'm going to tell you guys something right now, right? I want to congratulate you if you're still holding AMC, GME, if you're not scared, right, through all the FUD and the fear tactics and all that shit, right? So what I want to say is the S&P 500 is having the worst year to date since 1940, right? So think about that. Since 1940, that's how bad the stock market is doing right now, guys. And this is from Unusual Whales, all right, on Twitter. I just read the tweet right there. Okay, so take that into perspective, right? That how well AMC is actually holding up, even though it's at 11, $12, whatever it's at, how well it's holding up, and it didn't like tank like 40-50% today, right? And why? That's because the people are holding, right? Because we have a mission, we have a goal, we understand, we have knowledge, we have, data, we have everything we need, right, to understand what is happening. And it's a lot to understand, but the OG apes, we've been at this for over a year, so we've had the time to learn and to process and to make mistakes and so on, right? But I'm gonna tell you guys a story about my childhood here a little bit, right? So I have these Jordans, right? And I'm gonna make it a comparison to AMC. These are my favorite Jordans ever, right? The color, the shoe, everything, right? So, uh, the reason I'm bringing this up, right, is because when I was like in sixth grade, in middle school, seventh grade, I think I don't remember what grade I was in. It was in middle school, right? But I grew up playing basketball. I was always on the team, right? And there was one day where my mom took me to Foot Locker, right? And she was trying to buy me some basketball shoes, right? And I was looking around, and when I saw those, I was like, damn, these are the ones, right? Like I love these. These are my shoes. Like I want these, right? So when I, went to my mom, was like, oh, can I get these? I want these shoes. She was like, unfortunately, no, you're gonna have to choose something else, right? Because it's too expensive. She couldn't afford it at the time, right? And that broke my heart back then, right? Like those were the shoes that I wanted, and I couldn't get them. And so I ended up having to get some other shoes or whatever, right, for basketball and all that that were cheaper. But these have always been my favorite Michael Jordan shoes, right? And my favorite Jordan. So just because you can't have something when you want it, it doesn't mean that you're not gonna get it, right? So because with AMC, like because we want the squeeze right now, doesn't mean that we're not gonna get it, right? Because when I got these shoes, like when I found them, and that's why I don't wear them because they actually mean a lot to me, right? I don't want to scuff them and mess them up because it's always gonna be a memory there, right? And when I got these shoes, like dang, I'm kind of like getting emotional here, whatever, right? But when I got these shoes, I cried. Like I literally cried because it took me back to that moment where my mom had to say no to me or whatever. So that's why I continue to hold. That's why my mission, right, is to gain some wealth, some generational changing wealth, maybe some life changing money, right, from this squeeze, because I also want to be able to go back and do things for my mom, right? For my, not my parents because my parents are divorced, but my mom for sure because she's always looked out for me, right? She's always taken care of me. And so I just wanted to put that example out there, guys. Like we have to be patient because life is weird, life is crazy. You just don't know what you're gonna get, you don't know what to expect. Nobody can predict it, right? So just keep that in mind that because you can't have something right away when you want it, it doesn't mean that you're not gonna get it. Okay, so that's just hopefully it'll bring some patience to you, something to ease your mind a little bit. It's just a story I want to tell you guys. So that's all I got for that. But let's jump into the information I want to talk about today. All right. And today I'm just gonna touch on AMC, GameStop, and Redbox. There's some crazy stuff going on with Redbox that I want to explain to you guys. And it looks like the liquidity fairy paid a visit to Redbox, right? With the price action we saw today. And I'm referring to that the CEO of Virtu, right? That's what he said. That there's a liquidity fairy, basically, right? All right, so let's go into the internet. And before we get into the chart, I'm gonna pull up this article, right? So Jurassic World 3 rules the box office. Dinosaurs may not be extinct after all. Jurassic World Dominion was the apex predator at the domestic box office this weekend, opening to 143.4 million, according to estimates from measurement firm. Internationally, the latest film in the Jurassic franchise earned 176 million this weekend for a global cumulative of 389.1 million Top Gun Maverick declined only 44% in its third weekend and an estimated 50 million to take second place, bringing the North American total to 393 million. Okay, so the movies are obviously not dead. We're seeing people flock to them right now. There's a lot of blockbusters coming out and so on. So just remember that this is not a fundamental play, because look how good the fundamentals. Well, like they're bringing in sales and revenue right now. Like the next earnings report, I'm sure is going to be pretty surprising. Okay, and I think it's in August at some point, but just don't pay attention to the FUD, guys. Like there's a lot of fear, especially because the market tanked today. It was down. The Dow was down like 800 points at one point. That's insane, right? So let's just go into the chart. Darn, I didn't have the brightness. Sorry, we brightened up a little bit. But this is where we're at right now, right? Unfortunately, we crossed under this macro. I'm on the daily chart, so this is the macro, downtrend, one of them. And right now we're under them, right? So that is looking a little bearish short term, not gonna lie. But I also have the super trend, right? So I've been waiting for this to turn. This is the super trend signal. I've been waiting this for this to flip, because when it flips, that's when we know we're gonna start a run. Okay, in my opinion. And we'll zoom in. Right now, it's just, you see how these are just trading so perfectly. This is the algorithm, guys. Like when you zoom in, you can see the algorithm right there, right? That they're only letting it trade in between those levels, right? But what is interesting is that this has been happening over and over. You get these spikes after hours, and nobody knows what they are. I can't tell you. I don't have no idea what they're doing. But you have these crazy bars, right? So today it went all the way to 1238. This one too. This happened I think Friday, right? Boom, after hours. It's always after hours, right? And you get another one here, and another one here, and another one here. So that's not normal. I don't know what kind of testing is going on. I don't know what they're doing. But it's been popping up, right? And it just looks pretty sketchy. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit more. AMC was down -7% today. But like I told you guys, there's still 190 million shares on loan, guys. At the end of the day, they still have to pay those shares back, right? RSI sitting above 50 here. Let's see. Let's zoom out a little bit. See what the RSI is looking like. So it's right at 50. Okay, guys. So that's actually bullish in my opinion, because that's when it's in the upper territory from 50 to 70. That means that it should be forming an uptrend, right? So yeah, I don't really have too much on the charts. Just the fact that it's now following this little pattern here, right, that I drew out. So if it continues to fall, guys, we could see it coming down to 10, right? And then we'll have to see where it goes after that. But that resistance is what helped it kind of push it down today, right? So we want to see a reversal, of course. Maybe it's just a fake out, right? But this line is a big line of support around $12, okay? All right, this is what's important, guys. This has not happened again. If you watch my last videos, this has not happened, and I have the receipts since last May. Okay, when the fee started rocketing, and what was interesting this morning is that they ran out of shares, right? And then they printed a few more, or just found a few more, whatever. 800 was the max, and at 19%. Okay, but right now there's currently 0 shares left to short, right? According to different websites. So right here, 0%. 0 shares. It's not going to show the fee because it shows that they ran out of shares. Okay, but if some shares do pop up, I expect this fee to go up, right? I want to see it around 30-40%, right? Because that's what's happening. Loans are becoming more expensive right now, and that's what the shorts basically have, are just loans. And I'm interested on why this is happening, right? Like, why is there so much open interest by the end of this Friday? Now, remember, it is a quad witching day or quad witching hours, whichever one it is, right? On the 17th this Friday. And that usually brings a lot of volatility because it has to do with contracts, options, swaps, futures, a lot of stuff. Okay, so anything can happen, guys. Whatever the price is right now, like anything can happen with this amount of open interest. Okay, it could become a problem for the shorts if the price starts to run up, right? So I just want to point that out. There hasn't been any buys or sells reported since the 31st, and I'm interested to see what is going on there, but Fintel doesn't have that information for some reason. And then we're going to look at the options chain, right? Like I'm telling you, like this is for this week, June 17th, and you just see there's tons of open interest, right here at 13, at 15, at 20, 37,000 open interest right now, right? This is for this week. And they extended the options chain all the way to 85, and there's 44,000 contracts that are open, right? So the puts where we have to be careful, $10, $11, $13, right? If we can get above 13 or 16, that would knock a lot of options out of the money for the puts, okay? A lot of puts, and you would get a lot of calls going in the money, all right? So there's still a potential for gamma squeeze, guys, this week, all right? Or gamma ramp, at least, if the price starts to run up. And we know that they're in a tight spot, right? If they don't print any more shares, fake shares, right? Synthetics, Guatemalans, we should be able to see the price start to go up at least a little bit, right? Maybe up to 20 would be, the range for this week. And unless the shorts cover, of course. So any day, guys, the squeeze could happen any day, guys. Like if they start buying shares or they run out of liquidity, they get margin calls, right? All that stuff. This is going to be for AMC, so 0 shares, right? I borrowed this. You just want to have multiple sources. This is going to be for GameStop. And what's interesting is that, the fee has gone down, but we haven't seen much in the price action. So I'm waiting to see if it's T+2 or whatever. Like, where are those shares? Like, why would the interest drop, right? If there's no shares. Like last week, the week prior to that for GameStop, there was no shares left. But somehow they found more, right? And then we got the charts right here. This is for GameStop. Unfortunately, it did cross here the EMAs, and that's where you start to see this pullback, and then this downtrend too, right? When it's hitting here, this downtrend right here is gonna make it more volatile once it touches those points, right? So you got some action here, right? That we can come up if we can cross back here tomorrow, start to test the EMAs, right? Or there just could be a lot of volatility where you get a big jump like here, right, where they cross down, and then you saw a big big buying pressure come in and take over and cross it through the resistance, right? And that's why you saw this push all the way up, and then it got rejected here at 150, even though there was 0 shares available to short, right? And they bring it down, right? So we're waiting for that reversal, that bounce back, see what happens. And there could also be news coming up. The same thing for the options chain for GameStop. You have a lot of open interest, 130. You got 4,000 at 150. You got 9,000. All right, so there's a lot of potential there too. The options chain is stacked right now for GameStop. AMC again, just back to this 0 shares. This is showing 0 shares available to short, to borrow. That's why there's no fee. And then the blue line here is the fee that they're having to pay, right? On those borrowed shares, right? It goes up, spiked at 25, but right now there's no shares left, so we have to wait and see if they print more, so we can see the interest rate. I'm just going to show you real quick the Ortex update. This is for GME, so we're sitting at 22%. Cost to borrow, the max 70, and 33 is the average, right? We're going to go next. AMC, you got 22% short interest right now. 19 is the average with 25 the max to borrow, right? And there's still 190 million shares on loan for AMC that they have to borrow, that they have to pay back. They're on loan. And then, of course, with the Redbox, guys, like this is what I'm talking about. The liquidity fairy showed up today because there's still 225% short interest, all right? Which, how do you short more than 100%? Doesn't make sense. And it's on the threshold list, all right? So the price kind of dropped for Redbox today, just with the SPY. I mean, it ran up, but somehow I'm sure they were printing fake shares. Here, we'll show it. RDBX. So let's see what it's sitting at right now. So it's at 1527, right? Right around there. Yeah, it's at 1496, I think, after hours. Even though it pushed all the way to 18, right? 1820. But then you started to see the reversal because the super trend flipped, right? Started to bring it down. So we'll have to see what happens. But it's just a lot of corruption is going on, a lot of manipulation is going on, right? Especially with Redbox too. And I would just say be careful with it, guys. The RSI was maxed out too. So that's why you start to see the pullback. It's still in the daily green, but it's going to come here to an end soon, I think, because it's already at the end of the path, right? If it doesn't get past 18, 19, 20, I think it's going to start to come back down, okay? But that's just my opinion on Redbox. I don't have any shares or anything on Redbox. I'm just bringing you the information because It is highly manipulated, right? And that one only has 10 million shares, and somehow like Friday you had like 70 million in volume. Today you had like 50 some or 60 some million in volume. Let's see, 55 million in volume with only 10 million shares, right? It's kind of sketchy to me. All right, guys, that's all I could find today. I'm just sitting pretty here, right? Just oops, wrong screen. So I'm just waiting for the squeeze, guys. I think we're in the right position, right? It doesn't matter if the price is 13, 12, 11 for AMC, guys. Once they start covering those 190 million shares, that's when you're going to see the price action. And I think 20 to 22 is going to be like the breaking point, right? So we'll have to see if they print more shares overnight, okay, guys? But keep an eye on it. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace out.